Hey, great evening, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. Happy New Year's. Happy New Year's. New year, new commitments. Hey, Ron, how you
Absolutely.
doing?
Hello, Miss Angelena. I am doing superb. I am doing great tonight, and I'm excited to be inside as opposed to being outside tonight because it's so
Mhm.
cold outside. I'm
I
just
know.
cooking all day. You know what I mean? So I'm glad to be on the inside here, man, and being able to come and do what we do. So I'm excited to be back.
Speaking of the inside, how about my dog didn't even want to go outside? My daughter took him out to walk, and I was
Right.
like, well, did he use the restroom? She was like, no, he kept rushing back to the door.
It's so cold. Yeah, man. I mean, and then we've gotten so accustomed. I mean, Christmas time, it was what, 70 degrees at Christmas. So
It
we've
was.
just been spoiled, and now we don't want to deal with this, but hey, it is what it is. At least it's not snow. I heard it's supposed to be snow the weekend. So we'll see.
No, when? What weekend? Snow. This weekend?
Yeah, it's supposed to be snowing on Sunday. It's a possible chance, at least.
That's why all the chicken gone. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah. Bread. You gotta get bread and chicken.
that's why
Chicken
the
been
chicken.
gone. The chicken has been
But
gone.
Charles went to the grocery store. He went to Kroger's and Publix, and neither one of them had chicken. So
That might be what it is.
that's what it was because we was trying to figure out,
That's the
there was
deal.
something going on.
I I knew about the bread and milk, but I didn't know about the chicken. So the chicken might be the new addition in the pandemic. So that might be the new piece now. Chicken
Yes,
wings was hard to find all before though. They were
I'm
difficult.
telling you. Well, you got to put something in between that bread, and so.
True. Exactly. Exactly.
All right, guys. Okay, so you did not join us to find out the updates on the grocery stores and weather.
Exactly.
Just touch your base on that. What we're talking about today is we're still talking about the same thing, which is how to purchase in a pandemic.
Yeah.
And with it being the beginning of the year, hey Betty, we got
Hey,
people coming in the chat. Hey Sheila,
yeah.
you
Hello.
know, and we're talking about now how to translate your tax refund into home ownership. And I like to always say this at the beginning. We have a chat up to where you can be able to see any questions you may have. Please um, reach out, send it to us. We're able to see those questions, and we can be able to excuse me. We can be able to answer them as well. So, Ron, it's the beginning of the year, and you know what
Yeah.
time it is. It's tax
Yeah.
refund time.
Yes, it is, and I'm
Everybody
excited
has got
about it.
that last
At one stage in my life, this was the most wonderful time of the year. It wasn't Christmas; it was actually, but you know what I'm saying. It was to help balance things back off
Oh
after
yeah,
Christmas. You know what I mean? To get
but
you
we
back
had the plans
into
to overpay stuff, but that never
yeah,
happened. Shopping
yes.
new suits, new cars.
Yes. So this is no doubt the most wonderful time of the year. And the good part about it this year is that it begins even earlier. And this is much better, Angelina, than last year because last year the filing date did not officially open until it was in February. It was delayed, and the delay caused people to not be able to file generally on January the 31st or January the 30th, the last day of the month. But this year it's bumped up. It's January the 24th, from what I understand, is the filing date. And so because of that, um, it creates a great opportunity for those persons that want to translate their tax refund into home ownership, which is an opportunity for many people because we know one of the big challenges that we've been dealing with in this pandemic is the fact that we know that buy seller paid closing costs have all but dissipated, and we've seen that go for quite a while now. So in
Yeah,
turn, it has caused many people to have to bring a lot more funds to the table, down payment plus closing costs. So the exciting part about this is, like it has in previous years, it allows you to take your tax refund and be able to use that toward your down payment and closing costs. So it really positions people and put them in a wonderful place. And now, I haven't. I'm not fully up to speed yet on all of the tax laws and advantages that we're going to be able to enjoy this year, because we got lots of pandemic people, got many pandemic checks and got stimulus, and we got to see how all of that plays into the refund element. But okay, anything that is able to help us in terms of working through bringing funds to closing is going to be a blessing and a benefit. But not only that, it may also be other, because we know funds are needed for so many different things. Sometimes you may have enough funds already. Sometimes you may have enough funds, but you may be struggling with having assets in the bank. You need to have additional funds in the bank. Well, this is the one time, Angelena, that we don't have to worry about a large deposit. We're not going to ask about a large deposit because we're able,
Okay.
obviously, to source it. We know where it comes from, and so as a result of that, this is an incredible opportunity that many people can take advantage of.
And even like with the, because so they can source a tax refund, and even with the additional funds, to my understanding, I may be incorrect. So for all you all out, not a tax professional, so I'm
Right,
assuming
and
from
neither
what
am I.
the 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 remaining child tax credit that was an additional amount that some people, how people were getting the payments. I know that was okay to be sourced, and then the additional amount that I think when people file that they're going to get, there's some additional income too that they can also be able to use towards their house. Correct?
That's correct. Any funds that will come from a tax refund are going to be funds that can be utilized toward down payment, toward closing costs, toward assets, without, as we aforementioned, having to deal with the sourcing issue. Because obviously, banks know where the funds are coming from. We know exactly the source of that. Just like with many people, when we tell them about large deposits, they start being concerned, I should say, even about their payroll checks. But all of those are permitted. All of those are
Okay.
fine because we're able to source those. When it comes to large deposits, it's trying to source cash money that often presents the problem.
All right. And you know how sometimes you have people that go to like an H&R Block, and is it
Uh-huh.
best? Well, I guess it really doesn't matter. Is it best to get a check for your tax returns, or is it best to do direct deposit? You know how some places, I'm assuming they give you options to either get the check or either get the cash, so to speak. I'm not sure. I've been
Right,
at
right,
it's kind of like a short term, almost loan, so to speak, where they'll go ahead and loan you the money and then just file
right,
your tax returns. Is it best that particular person goes ahead and gets, okay, either do direct deposit or an actual check itself? And if they
right,
do the check, do they need to have it to where as soon as they get the check, they take it to their bank, or how sometimes people may hold the check because they don't want to spend it and they may be trying to save until they purchase. What are your advice in regards to that expertise?
well, that's a very good question, because a lot of times now there are even companies and firms that are actually putting it on debit cards. They're actually taking your tax refund and they're basically putting it on debit cards, so allowing you to have access to it as quickly as possible, and maybe even establish an account to get it. Once again, it doesn't really so much matter as it whether it comes from a third party, such as you went to H&R Block hypothetically, and at H&R Block they did a refund anticipation loan. It's what
Okay.
those are generally called. They're generally called refund anticipation loans, which means that they are going to go ahead on and front uh, your refund within 3 days or 72 hours or whatever their policy is or whatever their deal arrangement is, and then they're going to be the ones to wait for it to come from the IRS. Now, but they're going to go ahead and deposit that money, or they're going to cut a check to you. No matter how it takes place, the greatest thing is keeping the paperwork from that transaction, making sure that if it's going to be in a check form, that it is deposited into the account that we're going to be verifying, making sure that you keep a copy of the stub or whatever type of paperwork that they associate with you and with that transaction, then that's money that can be accounted for.
Okay. And
Right.
for you may have couples or husband and wives that file separate, but then
Uh-huh.
they want to purchase the house together. What would be the best way? Do they need to file jointly in order to, when it comes to tax returns? And is that easier, or does it matter if one spouse has the tax returns and is in their accounts and they're able to utilize? Because I know some people may ask, well, do I need to file jointly right now, or can I continue doing it the same way I've been doing
Well, my suggestion would be, well, it kind of depends upon each situation, because however you customarily file and whatever your status is right now, and it does kind of takes us back to the previous conversation that we had in our last session, and
it?
that's the conversation of, are you self-employed? Are you W-2? How am I getting some background noise still? Because I want to make sure.
A little bit.
Just a little bit. Okay. All right. Let's see. Let me see. Can you cut off my picture for? Let me see. Hold on. Let me see something.
I can do it. Guys, just one moment here. We are trying to get the background noise fixed for Mr. Williams and such. But what we're currently talking about is translating your tax refund into home ownership. And so, for those of you all who are in the process of filing, a lot of people are doing filing right now to where they could take their last paycheck. He spoke about how you could be able to go ahead and get the advance loan from places like H&R Block, to where you could go ahead and get that refund. And we're just right now just going over what's going to be the best option, especially if you're purchasing a home, on how you need to relate, how you need to get your transfer refund together. And a lot of these videos that we're doing is all about for us to be proactive. If you've worked with Ron and myself, you know our goal is to make sure that things run as smoothly as possible. We're all about knowledge and education. And so these videos that we've been doing every second Tuesday for the last couple of months is exactly for that, to get you prepared, to get you ready, so that way we can get it squared away. All right, so he's back. I'm going to bring him back on.
I'm back. Yeah.
Hey,
Okay.
Ron,
So yeah. So I think that'll help eliminate my noise in the background a little bit. But
we appreciate it.
I want to piggyback off of what you made mention of, because it's what these are for us is information sessions.
Mhm.
It's all about trying to help the community understand information about home buying. Many
Yeah.
times, Bible teaches us that we perish because of a lack of knowledge.
Oh,
So we want to give people the knowledge that's necessary and needed in order for them to accomplish their financial goals. Everybody, I'm going to be going to the gym here in just in a little while, and I was sharing with Carlos earlier today that this time of the year the gym is always a lot more difficult to navigate, because
wow.
we have everybody coming in because it's the first of the year. We're trying to get it all together. You know what I mean? And so yes, yes. We'll see how it continues. But the thing about it is great, because it does signify that we're making preparation. We're trying to do something about our situation. And so our sessions here are to help empower the community, because home ownership is difficult to accomplish nowadays. It is not an easy task. And I have the privilege and the honor of being able to work in it, and so do you. And we know the challenge of this. It's not an easy thing, and it's a lot of obstacles to jump through. So the more information we can help deposit into the minds of people that are interested in gaining a piece of home ownership and wealth, and changing the dimension of their life, that's what we're here to do. And so when we talk about translating our tax refund, this is maybe the only opportunity for many people to be able to get the minimum down payment. If it's an FHA loan, 3.5% down, which is our minimum down payment, or if it's a first time home buyer that can go conventional
Okay.
lending, then as low as 3% down. But for many people, this will be a genuine opportunity. Because listen at this, Angelina, many people we know take funds out of their 401k. And,
Yes,
and it's nothing certainly wrong with taking funds out of your 401k, but maybe through this tool of being able to utilize your tax refund, your 401k can remain where it's at and
they where it's
continue
at.
to grow for you. Yeah, and here's your opportunity to get back what you've been depositing in all of 2020.
Exactly. And I think a lot of times, like how we were joking earlier about how it used to be we couldn't wait for the tax
Yeah.
refund because it was
Oh,
gonna
oh,
and
you were joking? I was for real.
I was just about to say, I'm gonna go ahead and just be honest. I was looking at, okay, let me go online, let me see what type of car I want.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Because that was the time that you would take that refund to get what
Yes.
you've been wanting to get all year long.
Yeah.
But
That's time you wanted to have children. You know what I mean? You try to pick up a few extra ones if you could.
and Ron, I have three.
Yes. You know, well, look, you needed at least two more in January. I got five. I need five in January.
I didn't know.
But
I
yes,
don't understand. I was just like, oh my goodness. You go to
I mean,
convert, and you know what? And the thing is, the society knows because you're gonna start seeing all these car sales,
right.
furniture sales, all this stuff goes on sale. And we got other people joining us. Hi, Teresa. Hi,
Hey,
Francis.
Teresa.
Shout out
Hello.
to you guys. And people are ready for that. They're ready to go ahead and spend, spend, spend. But guys, put that money towards something that's going to be an asset for you to start building that legacy. And Ron is a wealth of knowledge of what to do with that and how we can translate that. So
Let me tell you this, Angelina. I bought literally my down payment on the very first house that I ever purchased,
Mhm.
and it was in 19. Listen. I'm not this old. I just started young, so I say these years. Don't y'all start looking at me crazy. I see you. I see you, Miss Betty, thinking that I'm. But, I think it was in 1992. Yeah, 1992. There was a builder in Columbia at that time called Rymark Homes.
Oh, I know
And
Ryan Mark.
remember
Yeah.
Rymark? And so I bought my first house. I think it was $120,000, and my down payment came from my tax refund. That was where that's what got me in the game. That was the launching pad for my very first house. It surely was. So I'm speaking from a standpoint of of really understanding what we have to do, really understanding what it takes to make things happen. We're living in a time right now where inflation is at its highest level. My mama told me she tried to buy some oxtails the other day, and she said it was like $40 for a small pack of oxtails. Now,
Yes.
yeah, I said, I was like, "Are you for real?" She said, "Yeah." But so we're living in inflation like never before. So everything costs so very much. So we've got to find ways to make our money work for us. And what better way than investing in a home and really utilizing what we're talking about, the tools that we have. Now, yes, you're going to need other things. You got to have credit, you're going to have income, but oftentimes, we talk to people. Sheila is on the line. We talk to people daily. She was telling me about a client she has today, has 700 credit scores and great credit, but
Hmm.
it's no funds for down payment, no
Yeah.
funds for closing costs. So many people have done the work in other areas, but when it comes to buying a house, there's always what I call, you've heard me say this numerous times, the CIA of mortgage lending. It's
Yes.
credit, it's income, and it's assets. And you
Yep.
got to have all three of those in order for it to work.
And I want to say hello. We have Andrea on the line too. Guys, everybody that's in the chat, if you have any questions, please just let us know. I see where Miss Betty says for us to please share the video. This is on, if you go to Angelena McFadden's Facebook page, as well as Deals with Angie, and also Ron Williams' Facebook page. You can be able
Yes,
to just let them know to go live on there. That's where it's set on all three of those pages. Um,
yes. I
and
thought I shared it on mine, but sometimes I get twisted on my Facebook.
well, go ahead. You can twist. While I get my
Yeah,
other question that I want to get to you.
sure.
Um, Another thing is now, if somebody, because right now the market that we're in, to whereas a lot of people's tax returns may be around at 4 to 6, $7,000, depending on how many children they have and what they've
Right.
written off. Now, in regards to down payment assistance, can they also receive that tax refund and use it to help towards closing costs, as well as receive down payment assistance, possibly if they qualify for it?
Absolutely, because here again, I'm in the midst of a down payment assistance loan that I'm doing right now, and in addition to the down payment assistance, again, because closing costs is no longer seller paid, and because we need down payment plus closing costs, my client is still having to bring about $7,000 to closing. And you know what? What we're going to be able to do? We're going to benefit off of their tax refund to
Mhm.
help close that gap between the two. And
Okay.
that is exactly what we're talking about, because every if a person qualifies for down payment assistance, it's a wonderful thing, and they're able to couple that with funds that they can get from their refund and be able to again close that gap, because many people and we must do a session on this upcoming,
You
think
know,
that
my
with down
notes.
payment assistance
Huh?
that it's going to cover everything, but
No, it doesn't.
it's not going to cover everything. In down payment assistance, listen to me with this, because and I want all my agent friends to hear this, because this is very vital. It doesn't mean no down payment, because it's down payment assistance, and we must learn the lingo. No down payment really doesn't mean you don't need any money. You still need money. You still need money. VA loans are 100% loans, and we know it doesn't require a down payment, but you still are required to pay closing costs. You're still required to pay for appraisals and your inspections and your earnest money. So we must be careful when we see signs and advertisements and things that say no down payment, as if you need no money. If you're going to buy a house, you are going to need some money. Now, there are instances and there are times when some of the tools that we're able to utilize are able to reduce those funds. We're able to reduce those funds to its lowest common denominator. So you don't have to come with a whole lot, but you're still going to have to pay earnest money. Am I right about that, Angelina?
You are. You're gonna have to. You gotta have some sort. You gotta have some, as they say, skin in the game. And
Yes.
skin in the game
Yes.
is going to be earnest money. I know at one point in time when I first started, I mean, I was able to sometimes be able to do earnest money as low as 250.
Yeah.
To get them in, and then it went to 500. And so now, sometimes with these offers now, because even though we have a lot of contingencies in our contracts here in South Carolina,
Right.
sellers sometimes want to see somebody who give at least $1,000, because in their minds, the seller is feeling like, okay, if the person could give $1,000 in earnest money, even though they know that it's going towards the closing costs and their down payment, that shows that, hey, okay, they're in the process, that they're not going to just back out as easily as somebody who only may just do 500 or less. But
Absolutely.
but you're right. When I do consultations, I just tell people like, hey, be prepared that you're going to possibly need. It used to be 1,500, but now with the cost of appraisals going up because they have to be rushed, I tell them, hey, if you can save up to 2,000 just for your upfront costs, you may not need all of that, but at least you won't be um, backed up against the corner should you need those things. Uh,
Yes.
and then also you like you say, you need reserves and you need to show, and I just think it's not how it used to be, and I understand, and guys, trust me, Ron and I share the frustration of how this market is changing because
Yes.
we're all about doing what's best for our clients. And if I used to love to be able to get the young person who wanted a house, and they was able to get closing costs, and they was able to get their home warranty, and they were also able to sometimes get a clear letter of HVAC to kind of help with inspections. But
Right.
now the reality is, guys, is that buyers are now a little bit lower and sellers are up here, and the sellers know that. And so you have to be prepared to be able to sometimes cover closing costs, and then be prepared for your earnest money, and also your inspection should you choose to want to get those things. And the tax refund can be able to help alleviate some of that pressure that it would be to come up with that money, definitely. And we have
Absolutely.
more people. I see Venice has joined us. Guys,
Hey.
like I said, if you got questions, let us know. Um,
Yes.
now, one of the things I want to ask too, you may have somebody who has their down payment, but
Mhm.
let's just say that I have a person and I want a house that's 250,000, but right now I only qualify for 220,000. Could that tax return sometimes help to pay down some accounts to kind of level out my DTI, my debt to income ratio, to qualify for more?
Yes, absolutely. And I'm so glad that you've taken us there because that's one of the other critical elements of what it can do. Again, because tax refunds are verified funds,
Okay.
then it gives us some flexibility to be able to do some things such as maybe
Oh,
reducing some debts. If a
okay.
person debt ratio is a bit higher and they want to purchase more home, but they need to maybe, it's strange because loan lending tools in the consumer world are very different. If you some people can go to the credit union and borrow $5,000 and pay back 25 a month, and that doesn't hurt your debt ratio much. But
No.
then there are other places where you can go and borrow $2,000 and you're paying 250 a month. And as a result, 250 can really stretch a debt ratio depending upon your income level. So if we're able to say, hypothetically, say that it's $1,000 balance left on that $2,000 account, but we
Uh,
can eliminate $250 out of your debt ratio, then we could take $1,000 and eliminate that 250 and payment that you're making per month. And not only that, it puts you in a little bit of a better financial position too, so that
mm,
when you take on a new payment for whatever that house, that new home is going to be, you've also reduced your expenses by that additional $250 that's no longer there. So yeah, so that's a great thing. And also, for persons that maybe perhaps you already have down payment, you've got assets, but you do have a debt ratio problem. Maybe you were told that, so you need to utilize that refund in order to pay off perhaps 4 or 5 different debts. You are able to do that. That's another way to translate that refund into home ownership. So it's so many different ways because cash is king, and we're
yes.
working in a time right now that the more money you have, and you just one of the things that we know that sellers, as you forementioned, look at is how much earnest money you got. My North Carolina clients have to not only put earnest money, but they also have to put oh
Due
God,
diligence.
due diligence funds.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and,
dealt
and listen, I've got one client
with them.
that has over $10,000 in due diligence money because that's what they had to put into that in order to win the contract. So if you're in the North Carolina market, as we already know, that market is totally different. And it's even more expensive than this Columbia market.
Yes.
But every dime that you have, that we can show, however we can utilize it, whatever way we see fit, that's going to best benefit you. But doing it now, as you forementioned, as we prepare, let me can I hit on something else, since we're talking about taxes as a whole, because
Yes. Yes. Go
many
ahead.
of our self-employed borrowers who have only filed 1 year of taxes, maybe, because remember in our last session we talked about persons who perhaps maybe this is their second year of
Yes.
being self-employed. So they've already filed their 2020 returns last year, or maybe they did not file their 2020 returns. And now the new tax season is getting ready to open on the 24th of this month. Well, I got some clients that are getting prepared to file so that they can prepare to be in the market in February to purchase the home, because they know that they've made more money. Their write-offs is not as great. And as a result of that, they're going to be able to show more income.
For
And so
income.
now they don't have to wait. They can file also electronically on the 24th, and we can utilize that income that they may now have to qualify them in a way that we couldn't before.
And that's and that's the thing, guys. This one, the more and more that I'm doing this business, the more and more that I'm finding out that it's not just straight A to B to C. There's so many ways and different avenues that you can be able to take to get to the process of home ownership. And that's one of the things I appreciate about you, Ron, is that you really take the time out to educate people on what's the best scenario for them and think outside the box to be able to help them. Because guys, just like how he was talking about how you can use your tax refund to pay down your debt, that $250 monthly payment, you got to look at it. If you divide 5 into 250, that's what, $50. That's 50 grand, that can
Yes.
be able to allow you to qualify for more. So you might have paid off a $3,000 bill, but it allows you to get $50,000 more in a house. And so when you see how those numbers kind of correlate, it's like, oh my goodness, this is now allowing me to now get in the neighborhood I want to be in, or the space that I want, or the year, or the upgrades that I'm looking for. 50,000 is a big difference between homes. I mean, just go on Zillow and search 200,000 and then search 250. It's a huge difference in between them there. And those are the things that I appreciate about having, as we call the money man.
Yeah. And, Angelina, isn't that, and as you know, as a real estate professional, that could be the difference between having to compete with 20 people on a house and may
Yes.
not having to compete but with 10 people,
Good people.
because that $50,000 changes the dimension so very much that it puts you in a better place. And that's here again, right back to what we're saying. It's another way to think of how your refund can translate into home ownership. And that's what we want people to know. It's not all about down payment in every sense, but it could be about other elements to what we're talking about that puts you in the best place possible. And that's what our team seeks to do. We want to put you in the best place.
Okay, great. And I'm trying to think now, as far as, and we went over as far as how we need to document is when it comes to receiving our tax refunds. Now, would you also suggest sometimes you may have someone who takes a tax refund and they like for their taxes and all everything dealing with the IRS, whether it's payments, taxes going into a separate account? Would you suggest that they continue to do that as long as they have it sourced, or is it okay if you put your tax refund in with the rest of your main accounts and so forth too? Because I had somebody
Well,
ask me the other day.
from our from our standpoint, it's okay, because again, we're going to source from wherever your statement leads us. And now I will say this. Now, you've got to know yourself as a money manager too. Sometimes I've found that it's better for me to put a certain, we get people that will get perhaps funds from a 401k or whatever, and maybe we'll tell them, because you're not under contract yet, because you're in the looking process, let's put that money in a separate account. Let's put it over here aside so that we don't commingle that account, because it may be 60 days down the road, and maybe then only account that we need to verify is just that account, that savings account or that separate account that those funds have been sitting in. So it makes
Okay.
sense, because one of the things that uh, those of
Try
us
that.
that do those of us that do mortgage lending can tell you is this:
Mhm.
um, a bank statement is just as powerful as a credit report, and bank statements reveal things that a credit report doesn't. And depending upon which account banks don't have to necessarily know uh, all of the accounts. There's nothing legally that suggests that when we do a loan for you, that we need to see every bank account that you have. Uh, that we don't have to do that. There's nothing about the fact that you only want to share this one particular account. Now, whatever account that be, you must understand that everything that's on that statement is involved then in with this loan. For instance, many times people have different accounts that's not on their credit report, but when we look at their bank statement, we'll see a recurring payment of $50 that's going to this business or whatever. And then all of a sudden it reveals, it ultimately leads to that, oh yeah, this is another bill that I have and it's not on credit. And then guess what? That's got to be added to that ratio. So sometimes, I want people to consider these things because all of these will play a role in the transaction. So if you can allow it to sit in a savings account, it also does this: it removes the threat of you utilizing it, because if you're saving it for a particular cause, every time I'm, it's something about life that when I make a decision,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to Carowinds this weekend, or I'm gonna go on a trip. Something always seems to come up at
So
strange times.
come up.
The
Yep.
car get acting funny. You get, something go wrong, and then now you got to dip into money that you plan to use for something else, and when it's easily available and easy to access. So either you go yes, you'll say yeah,
He
or
say
either
yes,
you go,
yes.
she'll go into Macy's, or somebody go into Macy's, and you all of a
Uh-huh.
sudden, you start seeing them shoes or that watch or that jewelry or that clothes or whatever, or
All
you
the
you drive by
sales.
the
All
car
the
lot
sales.
and you say, "Oh my God, that's the very truck that I wanted." Now all of a sudden, the temptation of it has taken you to a different place, and it may take you off track. But those are the types of things you got to be committed to home ownership. You got to be committed to
Yeah.
it, because this is going to cost you something. It's going to cost you in a lot of different ways, but the reward of it is incredible. When that happens, and it'll be the best thing that can ever happen. Whether if you're a first time home buyer or
Mhm.
if you're a move up buyer, it doesn't matter. When you get a new house, it's life changing.
It
It's life
is.
changing.
And that money, I'm telling you, that money when it's in your pocket, it's almost like it's burning a hole.
It's
But
burning. Oh, it's on fire.
it's on
You
fire.
got to
It's
just put the fire out. Yeah. Yes.
that's
Absolutely.
and that's when everything starts getting on your nerves. The way your car turns starts getting on your nerves. The way
Yeah.
your couch
Yeah.
makes a certain noise. Oh, I need a new couch. I
You
can't
know,
stand the lamp. It keeps flickering. It's time. You just need to change the light bulb, but the lamp's getting on your
yeah.
nerves.
I,
Buying new.
I talk about it in church, Angelina, and I talk about the fact that it's something about options. Money gives you options, and when
There
you
you
get
go.
options, you all of a sudden you are less tolerable of certain things. You know. That's what it does. Because I got options. I don't have to
I
stay here.
got
I don't have to
I need
drive
to deal
here.
with this. I'm just gonna get a new car.
Exactly. That's what options does for you. So that's what money does. Money gives you
Yes, it gives you
options.
options.
It
But
gives
on
you
the flip note,
options.
guys, doing this with the money that he's saying is going to give you options when it comes to home ownership, and that's
Yes,
what you
it
want to do.
does that as
Get
well.
you, those types of options. So yes,
Yeah,
the options are great, but we want you to
yes,
use those options towards assets, not
yes.
towards liabilities.
That's exactly right. So I will add this as an action plan, because we always like to close with an action plan. And someone may be thinking that's watching now or will see this on the replay or visit it on our timelines, or some of our agent friends that are on here may want to share it with some of their clients or whatever. What's an agent? What's an action plan? Well, here's the plan. um, once filing season opens and you file your taxes, keep your W-2s, keep copies of your W-2s, keep copies of the returns that you're filed, because that documents how much you're getting back in refund. So let's keep copies of those. Let's hold on to those and allow us speak with myself or Angelena or my partner on here, Sheila, she's on here as well, and talk with one of the mortgage professionals and one of the real estate professionals, and let us assess your situation so that we can tell you what it will take. This is how much refund I have, and let us explore those options. Let us look at whether it would be best to pay off debt, whether you need this toward down payment. We're going to need that toward assets. And then we can help guide you before it arrives, so you will already be empowered on what to do. That's how we get prepared. We go ahead and put things in place right now, and let us look at it. And that's the way you want to start, because then you know what we're able to give you an educated opinion. And 90%, 97% of the time, we have a 97% close ratio in our Columbia branch. And the only time a loan falls through is when something happened that we just were totally blindsided by, we did not know about, or information was withheld, or either, we was not told the truth. But that only happens 3% of the time. 97% of the time, when we look at your situation and we're able to look at the CIAs, we can tell you 90% of the time, 97% of the time rather, what you need to do to become a homeowner, and within what time frame.
as
Because
well.
it's not enough for me to tell you what it takes. I need to tell you how long it's going to take us to get there. For some people, it will be immediate. For some people, it may be 3 months. For other people, it may be 6 months. And for some people, this year may be their foundation year, and we'll be back next January, and it'll be your time. But let's start right now.
Something else I just thought of while you was speaking with the tax returns, using it to buy down points to lower your interest rate.
Yeah, that's the other thing. That's part of the fun, because we're in a rising rate market right now, and the all of the predictions are that rates are going to continue to rise this year, just like everything else. Inflation, we see it rising, rising, rising. So interest rates are going to do the same. So that's why we want to encourage you to take the first step. Just the first step is simply by having a conversation with us, and we're able to guide you from there.
Yes, and to be able, if you look right here at the bottom of your screens where
Yeah.
I'm looking at,
Yes.
I have my website www.dealswithangela.net, as well as flashing back minute to minute, as well as Ron and his phone number. His
Yeah.
phone number is here, and you can call him at 803-888-2999. I don't know how you got that easy number. I'm a little jealous.
It's like George C. I'm like the George C. commercial, to dial all nines. It's like, well,
That's what he
I
has.
purposely did that, Angelina, and
Well,
I've
I
had that,
love it
and
because
I've
I can.
had that number for years too, man, and I absolutely love it
Well,
because it
don't
makes me.
change it.
I won't. I promise you. I hope they don't take it away from me. You know what I
I'm
mean?
telling you.
Yes.
Also, below his number is also his website. This site goes directly to Ron's link, to whereas when you submit your application, it goes directly to him. And so you need to let us know. You can reach out to us through Facebook as well. We're both on
Yeah.
Facebook, and he will get everything squared away and started for you too. But the main thing that he's saying, what you're seeing, get started. If you start today, you'll be one day closer. And anything
Wow.
that's worth having is worth working hard for, especially when it comes to a home. This is one of your biggest investments. So it's going to take you getting some documents, doing some maneuvering, and
Yeah.
saving. It's going to take those things. But the reward of it, when you get those keys in hand and it's something that's yours, a landlord not telling you where you can hang your pictures up at and what you can do on the inside, when you're able to do what you want to do in your home, it is a blessing. It just truly is. And Ron, I just thank you so much for how you continue to
Absolutely.
work. Not only
Absolutely.
not that, I mean, you've worked with us personally.
Right.
I've used Ron myself personally, guys, as well as how you have assisted our clients. And especially when we just celebrated, Christmas and Thanksgiving, and seeing the pictures of, homeowners getting to
Yeah.
their home in time to
Wow.
celebrate the holidays. That's just
Yes.
a wonderful feeling. It really is. Now, Ro, we're going to be busy, guys, for the remaining of this month. I just want to go ahead and let you all know this too. And please, take this, tell people about it. There's going to be more information coming on both of our Facebook pages as well as online about this. But we have been invited to speak at a church, and it's going to, one of them is on January the 29th that him and I have been invited. More details will soon to come. But Ron, we're also hosting our own, correct? We're
That's it.
hosting our own on
Yes.
February the 6th. It is a house party, guys. House party for both
That's it.
buyers and sellers. And that's going to be on February
February
the
the 5th.
4th. That's the Saturday?
Yeah, the 5th.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
February 5th. Yeah.
February the 5th is when
Right.
that's going to be on a Saturday. And that will be out definitely on both of our sites too, as
Yes.
well. For people, I know a lot of you all been looking at our videos, you've been wanting to get started. You can come to these events and we will do on site approvals for you there, correct? I have
Absolutely.
taught Ron
Absolutely.
to bring
Yes.
his laptop and he's going to do on
Yes.
site approvals. Um,
Yes.
Sellers, if you have been thinking about downsizing and also purchasing or upgrading, hey, we will also be doing CMAs where we can be able to let you know that it could be able to be done to be able to put towards that new home. So more details to come in regards to that. Now,
And
Ron,
one other thing,
every
Angelina, is that we're going to be pulling credit. We do credit
yes,
at no cost, no upfront cost on anything. The whole evaluation process is at no cost, so nobody has to break out a checkbook or debit card or any of those things. It's all about information that we're going to sow into these two community events. That and the exciting part about this, Angelina, I don't know if you mentioned it or not, but
uh-huh.
they're going to be live. They're going to be in person,
Yes, they're going to be in person,
not
guys.
just virtual. Right.
They're going to be in person, so that way you can be able to, whatever questions you have, you can be able to do so. And we're just excited because we have, we feel that being able to get people into homes and families, retirees, whoever we can be able to get into homes is our mission. And so we know that we have to get out here and start getting this information, which is why we start these lives to prepare. Like that's valuable information that you've been given, Ron, even to the copies of the tax incomes, because people don't realize how many times we have people and they take all the stuff to H&R Block and they leave it there with the tax professional. They
Yes.
don't get copies of it, and
Yes.
then when it's time to buy a house, they don't have access to it. And so
Right.
everything we're giving you is valuable information. Um, Share these videos. We're going to have more that's going on here. Please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Ron, I just thank you so much. Do you have anything else that you want to add before we close for tonight?
No, I think that's it. This has been a wonderful conversation as always. I look forward to next month, our next one. I look forward to these two events that I'm excited about. That they're going to be in person, as we mentioned, and we want to invite our partners, our friends, and everybody to come out.
Yes, and I took notes of when we talked about our next session. So, guys, we will be doing a session on down payment assistance, the ins and
Yeah.
outs on it, as well as you said something very powerful. Bank statements are just as powerful as credit reports. I would love to be able to do
Oh,
on how that can be the case because,
they
guys, I'm
are.
telling you, doing these, I'm learning too. So that way I can be able to better assist my clientele. So I definitely want to get those on the books.
All right. Well, with that, you said it. That's our next session next month, and we'll
All
cover
right.
those two topics because those are hot topics, very
Yeah.
hot. All
All
right.
right, guys. So every second Tuesday at 7 o'clock, you can catch us here on Facebook Live on both our Facebook pages and business pages, as well as we have the two home buying seminars. One's on January 29th. The next one is on February 5th. More details to come. As always, thank you all so much that join us each time. We greatly appreciate it. If you have any type of topics that you would like for us to speak on, let us know. Ron,
Yeah.
thank you for your time because I know
Yeah.
you're such a busy man. And I appreciate that you take time out to do this with us.
Well, tonight is my little granddaughter's ninth birthday party. So you heard some noise in the back because we had already sung happy birthday. And I actually thought I would be back to the house by now, but I ended up, my time ran together, but nonetheless, I'm glad that we were able to accomplish the mission. So good
Thank
night,
you
and I
so
look
much.
forward to talking with you guys next time.
Same here. Good night, everyone. Be blessed.
Bye bye. Thank you, Bernice.
That's right. Tell baby happy birthday. Thank you
I
for sharing her
will.
birthday with us.
I will. She's already in bed, Angelina. She's going down for the
Oh,
night.
so now it's an adult party.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. It's a home party for me. I'm going home. I'm tired. All right. Good night.
Have a good one.
All right. Bye bye.